So now it's clear from CSIS that the Chinese Communist government was paying people to run against Tory candidates in the last election, or at least helping them out. Cash, let's make politics. Well, Brian Lilley is with the Toronto Sun, and his columns get printed all over Canada. He joins me right now. You've been writing about this. It just seems to me that it's a bit of a travesty that the Prime Minister and Minister of Public Safety said, we didn't know anything about this, when of course they were briefed on it.
If they weren't briefed on it, that's a problem.
I've been there, and others have been there when these things go on. You know that ministers are briefed on matters like this every day.
It is either a matter of they were briefed and ignored it, or they're incompetent and ignored the briefings.
Or they're lying now.
One of those. None of those are good options for the government of Canada. So, look, you listen to Aaron O'Toole stand up in the House of Commons and describe what CSIS told him, and he was very measured in how he described it. He did not go into any details that would cause problems for CSIS. He respected the boundaries.
Right.
But he said, money, workers, lies. These are the things that China put in to try and defeat him in the last election. How do you not turn around and say, okay, we need a public inquiry? Well, the House of Commons voted 174 to 50 a second time to have a public inquiry, and Justin Trudeau still saying no.
But Brian, do you think that Justin is believing that most Canadians, summer's coming up, they just don't give a darn about Chinese government interference?
Oh, he's hoping for that. He's also hoping that...
What's your bet? Do you think Canadians are going to get interested in another country paying for elections here?
Everybody but the TrueAnon supporters, and God bless Jake Tapper of CNN for coming up with that description, because it's 100% accurate. Trudeau supporters are like Trump supporters. Their guy could go out and shoot babies in the street, and they would still say, but he's our guy, we love him, and like that.
I'm afraid you're right.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate, but I am right. They just, Trump supporters and Trudeau supporters are very much alike. Their guy can do no wrong. So, you know, early on in this, in March, Angus Reid did a poll. 71% of Liberal supporters wanted a public inquiry. Well, now 57% of them say, oh, we don't need one, we know enough.
Yeah. But the former GG said we don't need one.
They're the only party that says we don't need, where the majority says we don't need one. And why? Because they back their guy to the hilt. Now, he's down at 32% or less of the public support, so he's not in a good position. I think that the opposition party should call his bluff and say, you call a public inquiry or we force an election.
That may be the case. Brian Lilley, thank you very much. 3 minutes. Justin Trudeau is now on the record as saying that social media is destabilizing, and he wants to bring in censorship to determine what can be put on and not on social media. That is wrong. Please support this station, and please add your address so I can write you a letter and thank you for supporting freedom of speech.